Today is a day that's critical. In fact, today could be a day that could change your life forever, because what we're going to talk about is how to increase your energy. The challenge is that for most people in life, what occurs is they've got all these great goals, all these great possibilities, all things they want to achieve, and yet most people barely have enough energy to get through the day. You know, they work hard all day long, 9 to 5, fight the traffic home, watch a little TV, and get a bite to eat and get to bed. And they don't have time to stay up and work on their goals, recondition themselves, make things work. I mean, the bottom line in life is to be able to do those things, you need energy. Anything in life that has any value will require an investment on your part of energy. I was the kind of guy that slept 8 hours and would still wake up tired. You know, the alarm clock would go off and I'd push that little button that's supposed to give you another 10 minutes 2 or 3 times as if it was really going to matter. But the bottom line was I was intelligent. I really had desire to make my life work, but I just felt so lousy all the time, so tired, so weak. I wasn't tapping into that potential. I want to share with you what turned me around, what absolutely shifted me. First of all, I lost 30 pounds in 30 days. I'd been 38 pounds overweight. Second of all, though, my energy exploded. The kind of energy that hopefully comes through in my voice when I communicate with you, that's who I am today. Before, I could barely make it through the day. Now I know how to mobilize all of my abilities and resources as a human being because I start with that physical vibrancy that allows me to create the success I'm committed to. So how do we take control? The first key element is this. You must understand the power of breath. Listen, the foundation of health comes down to one thing. Your entire body is only as healthy as the cells that make it up. What determines how healthy your cells are has to do with one primary source of your body, and that is your bloodstream. That is the environment that every cell in your body must grow in and live in. If that's maintained, then you're going to have health. And if that's polluted, then the cells in your body are going to be weak, which means your energy is going to be weak, and you will die. So how do we maintain and control the circulatory system so that the environment remains clean and nurturing and not polluted? The answer is your breath is the control button to the mechanism that cleanses your circulatory system. Not only is breath the foundation of all life in that it gives oxygen to the cells, the things they must have to live, but it also controls the flow of lymph fluid in your body. Lymph fluid contains white blood cells that protect your entire body and cleanse the system. What is the lymph system? Well, some people think of it as the body's sewage system. Literally, every cell in your body is surrounded by lymph. In fact, you have 4 times more lymph fluid in your body as you do blood. Now, here's how the lymph system works. Blood is pumped from your heart through your arteries to thin, porous capillaries. The blood carries the oxygen and nutrients to the capillaries, where they are then diffused into this fluid around the cells called lymph. Every cell in your body is surrounded with lymph. Bear that in mind. The cells have an intelligence or an affinity for what they need, so they take the oxygen and the nutrients necessary for their health right out of the lymph, and then they excrete toxins. Like all living things do, your cells excrete toxins, some of which goes back into the capillaries. But dead cells and blood proteins and other toxic materials must be removed by the lymph system, and the lymph system is activated by deep breathing. See, the body's cells depend on the lymph system as the only way to drain off the large toxic materials and the excess fluid in your body, which restrict the amount of oxygen your cells can get, which they've got to have for you to be healthy. So the fluid passes through the lymph nodes where dead cells and other poisons, except blood proteins, are neutralized and destroyed. Now, how important is the lymph system? Well, if it were totally to shut down for only 24 hours, you'd be dead as a result of trapped blood proteins and excess fluid throughout your cells. Now, the bloodstream is lucky. It's got a pump, and we call it our heart. But the lymph system doesn't have a pump, and that's something few people realize. The only way lymph can move around is through deep breathing and muscular movement. So if you want to have a healthy bloodstream with an effective lymph and immune system, you need to breathe deeply and produce movements that'll stimulate that lymph. See, when I began to look around to find out how to become more healthy, everybody had information from me on how to eat better. But in reality, you better look real carefully at any quote-unquote health program that doesn't first and foremost tell you how to cleanse your body through effective breathing. Let me give you an example. Dr. Jack Shields, who's a highly regarded lymphologist from Santa Barbara, California, conducted an interesting study on the immune system. He put cameras inside people's bodies to see what stimulated the cleansing of the lymph system. He found that a deep diaphragmatic breath is the most effective way to accomplish this. It creates something like a vacuum that literally sucks the lymph through the bloodstream and multiplies the pace at which the body eliminates toxins. In fact, deep breathing and exercise can accelerate this cleansing process by as much as 15 times the normal pace. How's that for cleansing a system? If you get nothing else out of everything I've talked about, but in understanding the importance of deep breathing, you could dramatically increase the level of your body's health immediately. It's the reason why health systems like yoga focus so much attention on healthy breathing. There's nothing like it to cleanse your body. Now look, it doesn't take too much common sense to realize that out of all the elements necessary for good health, oxygen is the most critical. Yet it's important for you to know how important it really is. And I found some studies that really grabbed me and really made me focus on my breathing, pay attention to it, and nurture it. One of the studies was by Dr. Otto Warburg, Nobel Prize winner and the director of the Max Planck Institute for Cell Physiology. He studied the effect of oxygen on cells continuously, and he was able to turn normal, healthy cells into malignant cells simply by lowering the amount of oxygen available to them. His work was followed up here in the United States by Dr. Harry Goldblatt. In fact, as far back as 1953, in the Journal of Experimental Medicine, Goldblatt described the experiments he conducted with a species of rats that had never been known to have malignant growths. He took cells out of these newborn rats, picture this, and he divided them into 3 groups. One of the 3 groups of cells was put into a bell jar and deprived of oxygen for up to 30 minutes at a time. Like Dr. Warburg, Goldblatt discovered that after a few weeks, many of these cells died, and the movement of others slowed, and still others began to change their structure and take on the appearance of malignant cells. The other 2 groups of cells were maintained in bell jars where the oxygen content was consistently maintained at the normal atmospheric conditions. Well, after 30 days, Dr. Goldblatt injected all 3 groups of these cells into 3 separate groups of rats. The results? After 2 weeks, when the cells had been reabsorbed into these animals, nothing happened with the 2 normal groups. In other words, in those bell jars where oxygen was maintained at its normal levels. However, all the rats in the 3rd group, those whose cells had been periodically deprived of oxygen, developed malignant growths. This work was followed up a year later, and the malignant growths remained malignant and the normal cells remained normal. So what does this tell us? Well, many researchers now believe by studies like this that lack of oxygen seems to play a major role in causing cells to become malignant or cancerous. That's the key element here. It certainly affects the quality of life for the cells at the very least. Remember, the quality of your health really is the quality of the life of your cells. So fully oxygenating your system has got to be your number 1 priority, and breathing effectively is certainly the place to start. The problem is that most people don't know how to breathe. Now, I got an interesting statistic for you. Did you know that 1 out of every 3 Americans now gets cancer? Pretty scary, huh? Yet, you know what's interesting? Athletes have a totally different ratio. There's only 1 case of cancer for every 7 Americans who are considered to be athletes. Why? Well, these studies begin to give us an explanation. Athletes are giving their bloodstream its most important vital element on an ongoing basis, oxygen. Another explanation is that these athletes are stimulating their body's immune systems to work at maximum levels by stimulating the movement of lymph. In other words, again, they're firing off this internal vacuum cleaner that is cleansing the circulatory system. So more oxygen is getting to the cells and there are less irritants in the system. Let me share with you what my research shows is the most effective way to breathe in order to cleanse your system. You should breathe in the following ratio. Inhale for 1 count, hold for 4 counts, and then exhale for 2 counts. So, for example, if you inhaled for 4 seconds, you'd hold for 16, and you'd exhale for 8. You follow me? Why am I having you exhale twice as long as you inhale? Because when you exhale, that's when you're actually eliminating toxins via your lymphatic system. Why hold 4 times as long? That's how you can fully oxygenate the blood and activate your lymphatic system. In addition, when you breathe, you should start deep in your abdomen, like a vacuum cleaner that's getting rid of all the toxins in the blood system. And let me ask you another question. How hungry do you usually feel after you exercise? Do you want to sit down and eat a big steak after you've run 4 miles? We know, in fact, that people don't. Why not? Because during exercise, through healthy breathing, your body's getting exactly what it needs most. So here's the very first important key to the living health system. You must stop and take at least 10 deep breaths in the ratio I've just described at least 3 times a day. What's the ratio again? Inhale 1, hold 4, exhale 2. So let's just try it. Let's have you do it. Either stand up, or you can do this if you're in your car sitting down. But ideally, if you're not in your car, stand up. And here's what I want you to do. Shake your body out, get a little bit loose, stand there for a moment. And what I'd like you to do is take a deep breath in, starting in your abdomen and breathing in through your nose. And then while we do it, we're going to count to 7 as you inhale. So you're going to continue to inhale all the way up to 7. Then we're going to hold for 4 times that, or 28. And then we're going to have you exhale slowly through your mouth for a count of 2 times that, which would be 14. Now, I don't want you to strain yourself on this. If this number is too large for you in terms of inhale or holding, then go ahead and let it out. You're not to stress yourself in any way. You can start smaller and begin through a period of time to build up your lung capacity. But let's go for it. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Hold, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Deep breath in again. Exhale slowly. Do you feel how the circulation is going on? If you'll do that 10 times, 10 simple breaths like that. Again, the ratio is the same. The numbers can change. Inhale 1, hold 4, exhale 2. Yes, if you'll do that 10 times, 3 times a day, you cannot believe what will happen to your energy level. It will explode. Because what will happen is you'll be cleansing your bloodstream, more oxygen will get to your cells. The more oxygen is there, the healthier and the stronger they are, the more power you have as a human being. I'm telling you, this can unleash your power physically. Everything else we've talked about is worthless if you don't have the physical energy to use it. So take me up on this 10-day challenge. For the next 10 days, breathe like this on a consistent basis, 3 times a day, 10 breaths. Would you be willing to go for it? If you do, I promise you, it'll transform the level of your energy more than you ever thought possible just by doing this simple breathing. And I'm not just telling you anecdotally. I can tell you now, for the last 5-6 years that we've done Mastery University, at Life Mastery in Hawaii, every single person gets blood tested in the beginning. They're interviewed about their level of energy and so forth, but everyone has a blood test, and they get to see their red blood cells. That's what's carrying the oxygen to you. And most people eat so many fatty foods, they breathe so poorly, their system is so clogged that they get to see their own cells, the red blood cells sticking together. And when they stick together, you can imagine, they move more slowly through the bloodstream. So you get less oxygen. Less oxygen, guess what? You got less energy. The whole body weakens. Sometimes people become ill. And you know what they do? They do 9 days of what I'm telling you. They do this breathing 3 times a day, and then we test them again at the end of 9 days. And not only have they lost weight and do they feel tremendous amounts of energy, but then we show them their blood. And there in front of them is the evidence of why it's changed. Because their whole body changes. All of a sudden, these red blood cells aren't sticking together. All of a sudden, they're getting more oxygen into the system. So I want you to know this really works. It's scientifically based, as simplistic as it is. This is what your Creator gave you. Your Creator gave you a way to cleanse your system. Now, I should mention one other thing about oxygen, and that is the other essential component of healthy overall breathing is daily aerobic exercise. Now, remember, aerobic literally means to exercise with air. That's the literal definition. So running is fine, though it's a little bit stressful at times for people. Swimming is excellent. You can find something for yourself. Look for something that you can do in almost any weather, that you can do consistently and daily, and that you can enjoy. That's the key. But by doing that, you can create the aerobic power that you really want for your body, and again, nurture your energy. Making sure you pick an exercise that's appropriate for where you are at your present level of health if you're going to do something like running or swimming. I don't think I can stress enough, there's no food or vitamin pill in the world that can do for you what excellent breathing patterns can do. I'm telling you, it'll transform you.